Hello, this is Sharon, and welcome back to Learning Game Programming with Python and Pygame. So, continuing from last time, you may notice that this program is similar to the other one, except now we have these variables up here that are capitalized. Up, right, down, left, menu screen, game screen, and load screen. These variables will be important later. Now the next few lines will be an example of object-oriented programming. First, this is basically the constructor for a game object. Self, image, size, speed, x, y, and rotation. Self is necessary when creating any Python object. And the following function, move, will move the object on a surface in any direction by 1. Now you might see why I had these directional variables at the beginning. They're just arbitrary numbers to indicate whether the person pressed up, right, down, or left. And then if 0 is passed to move, then I know that they pressed up, and I move them up, which is -1 in the y direction. Now I added some code here which is not quite complete. These lines of code are supposed to wrap the space around so that the game object appears on the other side when you go too far left or right or up or down. Right now the code is still a bit lacking over here, but it is in the right direction. Unfortunately, rotation is not yet working either, but we will leave that till next time. So, you may see that I changed the display mode a little bit. For one, I changed the variable name to display surface just because I felt like that was more appropriate. And then I changed the size to 960 by 540 because I wanted it to be widescreen. I still haven't thought of a more creative name. But I might be getting a little attached to Space Shooter. It's that exclamation point that really does it. Space Shooter, yeah! So on this line, you might be able to tell why I had those screen variables earlier. They indicate what screen we're currently on. So all of this is similar code from last time, until we hit these 3 lines of code. So in these lines of code, I load the images for the background and the player. I created these images using GIMP. Now I had to convert these to surfaces. Background.png is completely opaque, so I didn't have to bother with alpha. But the background of player.png is transparent, so I'll want to include the alpha. Also, convert_alpha seems to give the image a little bit more quality. Now we create the player object with the following values. If you remember, it takes in the following parameters: image, size, speed, x, y, and rotation. So, it takes the player image, it takes the size of 100, takes the speed of 1, and it takes x and y of 400 each, and it takes a rotation of 1. So some of these values don't mean anything right now since there isn't any code for speed or rotation in the object, but I'll work on that later. Now to start the main game loop. So you may have noticed that I moved the event if statements into another if statement for the screen indicator, and what happens in the menu screen won't affect what happens in the game screen. So basically, I've moved most of the event handling code from the last program into this menu screen if statement. So now we check if we're in the game screen. If we are, we blit the background surface to the display surface. So now we check for the event of pressing down on a key. So then we have this while loop that checks if the next event is letting go of a key, because that's what event.peak does. If that is not the case, then we print the number of the key to the console. I did this so I didn't have to look up the number for each key that I'm going to be listening to. Later, however, I will remove this line. So basically, when you press the up key, the background is blitted to the display surface in order to cover up the previous state of the main character, or the spaceship. Then we move the player object, then we blit the image of the player at the position of the player on the display surface. Then we update the display, and then we have a time delay. Now this time delay exists so that you're not moving ridiculously fast. But this could be useful later if we want to set the speed of the spaceship. Finally, we do the same thing for the other arrow keys. And here we blit the player's image at the player's position onto the display surface. And finally, of course, we handle the event for quit, and then we update the display. So that was basically an explanation of everything Now I'm going to run the program so you can see for yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, be sure to ask me in the comments. Thank you for watching and have a good day.